Psalms chapter 8 is another psalm of David. This one is to the chief musician upon Gittith. So another musician that he's writing to, and writing this poem to, these lyrics so that he can put it into music. This one's a very contemplative one. So some really good things for us to think about and talk, some fun questions philosophically to discuss. Verse 1, O Lord our God, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Who hast set thy glory above the heavens? Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightest still the enemy and the avenger. This is kind of that philosophy of out of small and simple means shall great things come to pass. Verse 3, When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained. What is man that thou art mindful of him, and the Son of Man that thou visitest him? So I'm going to pause right there. This is kind of mid-thought, philosophical thought here. But he's talking about, he says, I consider all these things. You've created this phenomenally sized earth. You have the sun, you have all these stars, you have all this expanse. You have all these amazing things that you have created. When you look up at night at the sky, you see all of these stars, just innumerable. There's no way you can just look up there at the sky and count them. And there's just all these stars in the sky and all these amazing creations. And you think, man is this tiny little person on one planet out of hundreds of millions of them. Now, of course, we know in our day and age, thanks to the Hubble telescope and Edwin Hubble's discovery of galaxies, that we are way more infinitesimally small in the grand scheme of things than even back then that we thought of. Because they thought of the known universe was just what we can see in the sky. We know that what we see in the sky is a small piece of the suburbs of the galaxy that we exist in. In the northern hemisphere on Earth, we're facing towards the outer edge of the galaxy. So we're seeing towards the outer side of the galaxy, whereas in the southern hemisphere, we're looking more towards, they have more stars and star clusters because they're looking towards the center of the galaxy. But we're out kind of that, we're 2/3 out, what they estimate is where we're at, in the kind of suburb area of our galaxy. And that's mostly what we can see. Thanks to modern science, we realize that we're not just a small piece of a galaxy. Our galaxy is just one of hundreds of millions of galaxies that we know about. That's just phenomenal. In fact, when you look up into space and you look at the twinkling of the stars, we think that's just a giant ball of gas up there burning, kind of like the sun. And some of them are. But the thing that's important to realize is most of those points of light that you see are actually galaxies. The light from an entire galaxy coming at us. It looks like one point because it is so far away that it looks like it's just one point of light. But it's hundreds of millions of points of light coming together, basically, into that one point of light that we then see. So when you look up in the sky, you're actually looking at galaxies more than you are stars, individual stars. You're looking at individual galaxies, and each galaxy is hundreds of millions of planets and stars inside of them. So it's much bigger than that they thought back then. But he's saying you have all this grand stuff. Your creations are mighty and phenomenal, but yet God is this tiny little part of it. And he says in there, what is man that you even pay attention to us, considering the grand everything? You're paying attention to all these galaxies and all things that are going on. Why do you even worry about us? Small, simple little us. Why is that important? Verse 5, because he says here, this is the contrast that he gives. Verse 5, For thou hast made him, man, a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet. And he puts the colon there, all sheep and oxen, yea, and the beasts of the field, the fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, whatsoever passeth through the paths of the seas. So man is this super infinitesimally small speck on the grand scheme of things. But yet you have made it just a little less than you. So here's God, here's man, and here's everything else below man. So man has dominion over all of God's creations. Man has he's not equal with God at that point, but he's just a little under that. God has given him dominion and has crowned him, which is crowning him with glory and honor is priesthood, basically. So why small little man, you make man so great in your eyes? Well, we know that because we are the children of God, that he values us, and he has made all of this for us. We're not here to serve the universe. The universe is here to serve us, to help us out, because we are the children of God. Thus, we have the godlike potential to become gods ourselves. And so verse 9, he wraps this up and he says, O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Just, you are amazing, God, at what you've done. Holy cow. Now this reminds me of this concept of understanding that man is nothing compared to the works of God, to the experience that Moses has when he experiences the burning bush and he realizes that man is nothing. And this is an important point in religious understanding. When we get to a point where we really comprehend how great God is and how small humans are, this mortal world is, we start to understand the contrast of mortality versus immortality, or this life versus the next life. And that's an important milestone to get to when you're thinking about your spiritual journey, is understanding that God's not human, like the Greeks would have you believe that gods are just superhumans in a way, basically, still guilty of sins and lusts and challenges and problems. No, God is better than all of that, way better than all of that. And he loves us, which says something about us. If he puts his time and effort into us, we are important to him. He wants the best for us. That can help us with our identity. Who am I? If God's paying attention to me and he loves me. That attention is so important for us. We know for children, the more that they feel that parents pay attention to them and help them, the better that helps them out. If this amazing parent that I look up to that can do so many wonderful things spends time with me, I feel special. When a celebrity takes time, or somebody you look up to takes time to be with you, you feel important and special. Who better to spend your time with than God? So some fun things we get to think about from David's writings in this psalm. We'll see you in the next chapter.